Welcome. We are the
Ministry Media Mavens.
We're so happy to have you with us again. We're asking that you do us a favor at the top of our show. If you don't mind, please like and share. And if you haven't already, we're asking you to subscribe. We would like to bless as many people as we can, so don't be stingy with the information. Share this with everybody that you know. Today we're going to be talking about the top 3 ways to maximize Zoom.
Yes, Zoom.
So stick around. See you in a minute.
So what you're seeing now is the Zoom back office interface. After you've logged into Zoom, this is the screen that you'll come up. And so the first thing is I just kind of want to walk through all the things that you will see here when you set up your Zoom. You can scroll through it and you'll see the on the side it'll say webinars. Now that's an added function that you do have to pay for. You'll see recordings there. So if you have already done some Zooms already and you've recorded them, those will be located there. And then you'll see settings where you can set up the back end of Zoom. Also, you'll see user management, room management, and account management. All of those things you'll see there. So let's click on settings and look at that interface and see all the different kinds of things that you can set going along for your Zoom. You'll see meeting, you'll see recording, and you'll see telephone. The first thing under meeting, you'll see a tab that says security. And the first thing that's there that says require a password when scheduling new meetings. The way that Zoom is set up now is a security feature they have put in place is to allow you to set a password so that you don't have people that are actually jumping into your Zoom meetings when they weren't invited. And so I would advise any church to either require a password or to require a waiting room when you are setting up your Zooms, just so that no one will infiltrate your Zoom meetings for your Bible studies, for Sunday school, those kinds of things. So I would either require a password or set up a waiting room. And so this is where you can either toggle those on or off. If it's blue, it means that that feature is scheduled on. You can just toggle it like you just saw me there, and it'll be gray. That means you have it off. But I like to have passwords up there. And so I'll toggle that back on. And then it says require a password for instant meetings. Those are the meetings that you do on the fly. So if it's not your regular Sunday school, if it's not your scheduled Bible studies, and your leadership team or your pastor needs to have a quick meeting. So for instant meetings, that means a meeting that we set up on the fly. Do I want a password for that? And if you do, then you'll see mine is toggled on because it's blue. So no matter what kind of meeting I set up, I want a password to be required. The next option you'll see is require a password for participants joining by phone. So that means no matter whether they join by computer or whether they join by a mobile device, being a tablet or a phone, they will have to have a password to enter that meeting. And so those are just some additional options. And there you'll see the waiting room. This is where it's like a holding room. And so when people log in to your Zoom, they are put in this waiting room and the host has to manually allow them to come in. And I know for some people this is a tedious process and they would rather for people just to join Zooms and to be actually in the meeting without having to go through that waiting room process and without having to have some moderator, or some host let everyone in one by one. You can do that. I myself just wouldn't advise that for the security reasons. We know when the pandemic first started happening, people were actually coming into Zoom meetings and they were posting pornography and different kinds of information in those settings, whether they were church settings or whether they were business settings. People were hacking into Zoom meetings with pornography and all kinds of obscenities. So for me, I'd rather be on the safe side and place everybody into a waiting room until I can actually let them in. That's what I do for our Bible studies. Now, again, that is up to you to make that decision. Is it tedious, me having to let people in one at a time? Absolutely. But for me, I'd rather be on the safe side than to have the people that are in my Bible studies, that are in Sunday schools, that are in business meetings that I'm hosting. I'd rather make sure that they are safe and not have to deal with that. And so these are other things that you can customize the title, you can customize with your logo and your description. There's so many different ways that you can customize. Okay, and here's one you may want to think about where it says schedule meeting and it says host video. That means the person that is actually hosting the Zoom, start meetings with the host video on. I have that toggled off because I want to make sure that I'm ready to be presentable on the Zoom meeting, and I want to actually allow myself the opportunity to turn my camera on when I am ready for it to be on and not just automatically. And then you'll also see another option that says participants video. To start meetings with participant video on. Participants can change this during the meeting. I like to disable that and let participants decide if they want to be on video or not. Sometimes you are not video ready. Sometimes you may want to come to Sunday school. You may want to come to Bible study and not be seen, but still participate, still be able to speak, still be able to enjoy it without being seen. And so I like to allow participants to decide whether or not they want to be on video. So I leave that toggled off and let them make the decision. Also, as the host, you can decide whether video will be on for participants at any rate. You can decide, I don't want any of the participants to be on video. And we'll show you how to do that further along when we set up a meeting. And so then you'll see the audio type, whether they're going to connect just telephone or just computer audio. That's a decision you make here in the back-end console. I like to leave the option open for telephone and computer. Some people want to join with the audio from their computer. Some people that don't have access to computers, they're going to want to call in almost like it's a conference call. So I like to leave the option for telephone and computer so that the participants, the members, can have that option. And then the last thing I'll show you here is join before the host. This allows the participants to come in the meeting room before the host is there. I'll leave that option on because I want to be the first one in the room just in case I need to do some setup. So they'll have to wait till the host joins. That's my preference, but you get to decide how that happens. And so now, since we've gone through just the basics of the back office, the basics of that dashboard and how to navigate there, you can see that there are some basic things that you may want to go through before you set up a meeting. On that left-hand panel, you'll see security, there's schedule meeting, there's in-meeting basic, in-meeting advanced, email notification. All of that, I would advise you to go through those so that you can see all of the options that Zoom has to offer. So now let's go to schedule a meeting. And so I'm going to click this blue button at the top where it says schedule a meeting. So we're going to click here and we're going to go through the process of setting up a bogus meeting just so you can see the process. So here where it says topic, my meeting, let's say we're going to set this up as Bible study. And I'm going to say Bible study test, so I don't know, this is not anything real. It gives you the option to put a description here. Our church is actually going through a Bible study called The Story. So I'm going to say, let's say The Story, chapter 12. Actually, we're on chapter 13. And so you can put that in there so that when participants see it, they'll know what we're talking about. And so let's give it a time. Let's click on, you saw me click there on the red button that's right next to that date that pulls up the calendar for the month of July. And so we do our Bible studies on Wednesday. So let's say we're going to do it on the 15th and we're going to do it at 7 p.m. So I get to choose the time. Our Bible studies are usually an hour, so we'll keep it on that time. We are in Eastern time zone. You can change the time zones depending on where you live. And if your Bible studies are once a week, you can set this up as a recurring meeting. So if you set recurring, it'll ask you You'll see here there's a drop down for recurrence, whether it's daily, weekly, monthly, or no fixed time, hours, or weekly. So I could schedule it here as weekly. But if you were just setting up a one-time meeting, then you would not select recurring meeting and you would just select that one time. And then it also shows you when does it occur. Does it occur Sunday, Monday, Tuesdays, Wednesdays? It's going to auto select the date or the day of the week that you actually set it on, but maybe that'll be the first one. And then from that point on, you'll want it to be on Thursdays. So you get to actually select what day you want them to be weekly and how long. So you'll see mine has 7 occurrences. You can click on that down arrow and you can say how many you want it to be. I'll just leave it at 7 just because that's where it is. Then you'll see whether registration is required or not. Let's just leave that one open. Then you'll see the meeting password. You can actually opt for a password, and so the password is already in there. Then what you'll see here, remember I told you that you can actually control whether or not participants' videos will be on or off. This is where you do it. You'll see where it says host video on or off. I have it as off. But then you also see where it says participant video. And there's another radio button for on or off. If you do not want the participants to be able to activate their video, you click off here. And this is especially good if you are recording something that you want to share somewhere else and you want a clean presentation without having those photos that run down the right side of your Zooms, then you would select off here so that those videos wouldn't show, and the only thing that would show would be your presentation, whether it's your Sunday school, whether it's your Bible study, whether it's your Sunday morning worship services, or whether it's a business meeting. All you want to do is show files, whether it's a PowerPoint presentation. Then there is where you would click that radio button to make sure that that participant video did not come on. And then here you have again the audio selections. And so this is where you would set up your meeting. And then at the bottom, there's a button that says save. And so you would save that option there and that meeting is set. And if you want to notify all of your participants of that meeting, this is where you would do it. You could use this invite link and you can see me circling it there. It says copy invitation. You could copy that invitation and email it to everyone. And that would actually let everyone know that they could click that button and join your Zoom meeting. And so I'm going to actually go ahead and start this meeting so you can see the process of sharing your screen. So I'm going to select that start meeting. And so you'll see the dialog box that says openzoom.us. And so you want to just click on that button. Yes, we want to open the Zoom. And so you'll see the button coming up that says opening the meeting, and now it says join with either the computer audio, and that's what I want to do. I don't want to do the phone call, so I'm going to join with the computer audio. And you'll see where it says what we just set up, Bible study test, and has my name as the host. And then there's a green button that says share screen. We are going to click that share screen. And so this dialog box comes up on the basic tab that shows you all the different ways that you can share your screen. What you see highlighted in the blue says desktop 1. That is showing that I will share everything on my desktop. All of the icons at the lower bottom bar, it's going to show you all the windows that I have open. So what I typically like to do is just share the screen that I want to share. So right under that, you'll see where it says Google Chrome. I only want to show you one thing on my screen, not everything that I have. So I will typically bring up the window or bring up the presentation that I want to share so that it is visible and that is all people will see. And so I'll select that and then I will click share, the blue share button here. And so when I click that, that is what you see. And of course, I brought it to the YouTube, to Ministry Media Maven, so you can see our channel if you haven't seen it already. And so that is all that anyone will see is that tab, and it goes straight to there. So if I was going to talk about anything on our YouTube channel, that is what you would see. And then when I'm ready to stop sharing, there is the button right there. You see it's red and it says stop share. And so I will click there and I will stop sharing. And it will bring me back to the screen. And typically this would have been my face, but since I'm using, and I guess I could actually do it, share my video, I could, bring it back and they would see me again. And y'all see this wonderful background that I have here. That is called a virtual background. It could be anything that you want it to be. If you wanted to change your background, let's say you are in front of an area of your office that you don't want people to see, you can always add a virtual background. It is just a picture that you impose on the back so that nobody knows what's actually back there. Where you see the video, there's a drop down arrow and it will say choose virtual background. In that space, you could click choose virtual background and you'll see mine popping up. And that blue circle, it'll show you everything that I have as a background. These are just backgrounds that I downloaded from Google. Make sure that you get the royalty-free ones. So these are the ones that I got there. And I can decide what my background is going to be. If it's going to be tropical, like you see me here. Is it going to be an office background, like you see here? Is it going to be a conference room, like you see here? Is it just going to be, I love this, doing good matters. So whatever you want the background to be, that's what you can select. And once you select it, then that's what people will see. And at any given time, you can decide, I don't want to share my video anymore, and you can take it off. Here we are. So I really hope that this has been helpful, that it's given you just the basic understanding of how to use Zoom, how to navigate Zoom. And if it has, let us know in the comments. If there are questions that you have about using Zoom, let us know that so that maybe we can do a companion video, a follow-up video to answer some questions that I didn't address in this just basic overview of the tool Zoom. And one bonus tip that I want to leave with you before we get out is if you are hosting a Zoom and you have several presenters, you want to make sure that your presenters, anybody that is going to be speaking on your Zoom, has earphones. Because if you don't have them use earphones when they are doing the Zoom, you'll get feedback. So anybody that's going to be talking on your Zoom, especially if you have more than one presenters, you want to make sure that they have headphones, whether they're using earpods like I have this, whether they have the full headphones, they will need some kind of earphone audio device so that you won't get feedback. And even if you are just a participant in a Zoom conference and you are in the same room as another person and both of you have Zoom going, you're going to need earphones. Otherwise, it's going to produce a lot of feedback and screeching noises in your Zoom. So wearing your earpods will make sure that you have a clean, crisp audio in your Zoom presentation. So make sure to get these trusty earphones and wear them when you are doing your Zoom. Again, I hope this has been helpful. And if so, be sure to share it with somebody that you know needs the information. God bless you.
We're back. Now, wasn't that very informative? You know, a lot of us are using Zoom for our Sunday schools, our Bible studies, our church services, even meetings. And, you know, this is new for everybody. So we're all learning at the same time. So hopefully the information that you gained today is something that you'll be able to take and use in your daily lives if you need to, if you're someone that is conducting meetings or teaching a Sunday school, or maybe you just want to start doing a meeting or something like that. So hopefully this has helped you, and we look forward to our next one. But in the meantime, do what? Like and share
And subscribe.
and subscribe. And you know, if you don't want to at least subscribe, can you at least watch the video?
No, we want them to subscribe.
Okay, so we want them to subscribe.
Yeah.
Okay, it's free. It is free. And it helps us when you subscribe. The more people that we can reach, the better it is. We want to be a blessing to everybody. You know, we want everybody to look professional. We're all learning at the same time. We do understand that. But the more people we can impact, the better it is for the kingdom. So we thank you again. We are the Ministry Media Mavens. Have a good one.